Hey everybody, my name's Jay Bunny. Welcome to my channel. Um, if you're here from Instagram or you know me, which you probably do, look, I'm wearing the same shirt. But seriously, welcome. Um, even if you don't know me personally, hope that you enjoy my music and enjoy my little slice of life of what I choose to talk about here. Um, I said that I wanted to talk about audio engineering, and I do. I think for this video, I'm just gonna keep it kind of simple, and I wanted to talk about how, in my limited perspective, I can see how deep the rabbit hole goes in terms of audio engineering, and just talking about for music, like commercial music in like the pop realm too. Um, and just basically on the basis smallest level, like starting at level 1, I say, is like, in my opinion, balancing volume levels, um, trying to have clean audio, which is like your basic recording technique, just understanding a little bit about background noise, a little bit about like the difference between recording inside in a church or outside uh, in like a storm when there's a lot of wind. Just understanding that is, I say, level 1. Just trying to have a clean audio recording, and then balancing basic volume levels, and that to me is a fundamental. Um, I think if I could say there's a level 2 for audio engineering, um, I would say it's beginning to understand what most DAWs give you, which is their in brand EQ, their in brand compressors, and understanding what just basically what those can do, in terms of like what is an EQ. Like it's what's in your car stereo, if you have like one that has, which most cars do. It's an EQ that says, oh, do you want the bass to be louder, or do you want the bass to be softer? Do you want the highs of the song to be louder, right? Or like, do you want the vocals to poke out more? Just understanding that the human voice lives in a certain range, right? Because it doesn't live in the same range. It's not as low as like a tuba, for example, or like a bass guitar or a bass drum. Those frequencies are not in the same range as a vocal. So just understanding like the basics of that, and then understanding that you can apply those controls to each instrument in in the song, so you can change a little bit of what frequencies the ear is perceiving uh, for that. And also just basic compression stuff, like understanding, that if you make a compressor faster, it will it will it's a little bit hard to explain in like a basic term. Like, if you understand, I'm really not good at explaining it, but just understanding what a transient is, understanding a little bit about waveforms, understanding about how a compressor works on a base level with transients, um, and I think most importantly, the effect on squishing a signal has on the perceived presence to the listener. I think that's really big, and I personally, in between a level 2 and 3 when it comes to like understanding audio engineering. Now I think level 3 is where you get from like really being a novice to being like a true amateur and being able to complete a whole song to a certain standard, that could is perceived by most people on Spotify or most platforms as okay. I could hear that in a commercial. I think most people understand it's not exactly like the song is not going to sound exactly like a Michael Jackson record, or like it's not going to sound cream of the crop, and there might be certain harshnesses in whatever product. But I would say a level 3 or like an amateur coming into like almost a professional realm is like someone who has a grasp of their um their audio engineering process from recording, talking about difference in mic tonality, differences in mic placement and recording techniques, um, adjusting adjust differences in preamps, uh, and the quality of which is printed onto audio, um, just for a recording engineer standpoint, um, to what you can do in a DAW with all of the basics like the EQ, the compressor, uh, saturation, uh, image widening, learning about phase, um, and also pitch correction, audio alignment, uh, getting into also automation, volume automation to bring things forward and back, um, tuning, probably using reference, a lot of different speaker references at this point, and then also tying in some of your basic and most well-known plugins, um, and so that's kind of like where I'm at. um, it's enough it gets the job done. I still make mistakes all the time, and my workflow is not that fast, but I enjoy it, and that's kind of where the edge of my knowledge lies. Now I went to the Los Angeles Recording School, and I have a lot of friends and teachers who are obviously way more knowledgeable than me, and they're just very, very good, and I'm gonna shout them out as this channel goes along. But uh, I just wanted to make a little video because I can honestly talk about this stuff for hours, um, and I just wanted to make a video talking about a little bit about like where my mind is about audio engineering, and explain to maybe some people who are wanting to be a little bit more curious about audio engineering, like to see what it's about. And then, I mean, just for fun, I can talk about maybe what I perceive as like level 4, and that level 4 audio engineer is just made up terms again, but I would say that is someone who understands uh, and has worked with many different types of microphones, uh, different physical hardware too, and can appreciate what the physical hardware can do that is different than the next one, right? So I mentioned like an EQ can boost the lows or the highs or the mids, but I think people who operate in this realm are definitely trying to be at a professional level, and they understand what certain EQs are known for, the tonality that they impart on the recording. Even just existing, having a signal go through that EQ, some people might say it does a certain thing. And yeah, I mean, getting into that realm is like when people start to like pick and choose, and their brand, their sound becomes kind of iconic because you can recognize the same specific tonal decisions and mix decisions that they make throughout their genre or whatever body of work they have. And that would be something like, oh, I prefer to mix like rock records, so I have my specific Neve equipment that I go through. I have specific mics that I use. I have maybe even a mixing console that imparts its literal tone onto each track, because it has its own analog compressors, and each compressor or each piece of that hardware is wired just a little bit differently, so the electronic signal travels through it a little bit differently, and it imparts a warmth or whatever. That is kind of the arena of like where you begin to be professional. So I'm more of a songwriter, and I like to do what I like to do, but I do have an interest in that. And also my budget is not nearly enough to operate at that level. But yeah, that's the kind of thing where you actually like would look into a studio, and a lot of those rack mounted stuff, the stuff that the studio picked out or whatever, that's when you'd be like picking and choosing and playing with that stuff. Again, I'm not near that point, but I love to talk about audio, and I love to learn. And I hope that my channel can just like attract the right people, and then maybe teach me about making my music sound better. So that's all I have to say for today.